I've got a really nice replay for you here today. This is a game I literally just played, and I didn't record it, which is really unfortunate because it ended up being really nice, but I didn't record like the first half of it, so I didn't want to just start up the recording in the middle of a game when like half of what happened is missing. So we're just going to record it here in post. Now, this is a Fletcher game. I have recently revisited this ship, and I've actually been enjoying her quite a bit, as you're going to see in this game. But first things first, looking at the matchmaking threats to my ship, there's obviously the carrier, which is going to be really annoying. Edgar is a potential radar. Golden Lou is going to be annoying to deal with. Seattle is a definite radar. Summers, Daring, Nustrashimi, and Jaeger for destroyers. Now, this is going to be quite a few lessons in one game. First of which is going to be, I guess, I don't know what the word to use is. I guess maybe it's just temperament or just being overconfident, I guess. Now, it's just a minor spoiler alert. I'm going to end up making a pretty nasty little mistake in the next coming minutes here, and we're going to get to that when we get to it. But this is it's kind of a lesson in humility, I guess, is no matter how good you are, no matter how confident you are in yourself or your ship, mistakes do happen, and there are all ships do have limitations, and we're going to be coming across a lot of this ones in a little bit. But I do get really aggressive here, and this Edgar was spotted right here. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, that could be a radar Edgar, but I also don't think it is, because honestly, like probably 4 times out of 5, when you see a Royal Navy ship, it's usually a smoke. So that's what I'm banking on right now. Nustrashimi gets spotted, and right here I do pop my smoke. Why do I do that? Even though the Nustrashimi is not known as being a DPM demon. For one thing, unlike the Kid, this ship does not have a heal, so all of the damage I'm currently taking is going to be sticking to me. And right here I make a pretty big misplay. I honestly should have just kept going and get out of the way, accelerated back up behind this island, and and go and just get safe again, with the Daring and the Edgar spotted where they are. And because I don't do that, I greed for this Daring right here, because I'm a greedy idiot. This Edgar does end up being a radar Edgar, which is just my luck. So right now, the main saving grace that I have right now is I have this island that I can accelerate to protect myself from the Daring, and the Nustrashimi is limited to his rear turret only, which is not exactly a very high DPM weapon. This Edgar's going to get a few shots on me, but I do manage to get out of radar range. But this entire ordeal does cost me pretty much almost all of my health in the first 4 minutes of the game, which is suboptimal, as they say. So right now, what are we looking at? We're looking at a radar Edgar. There's a low health Nustrashimi who does have a zombie heal, so he's not going to be low health for long. Ostergutland just tried to gunfight a Giuseppe Verde. That didn't go well for him. Our Fat Freddy is just going to walk in and YOLO. Our Shimakaze is getting griefed by a Summers, even though he shouldn't be because it's a Shimakaze versus a Summers, but I digress. What do I have that I can do right now? Well, I can stall B for a few seconds, but with the amount of health I have, it's just not safe. So all I'm going to really do is I'm looking at torpedo targets. There's a high chance that one of these guys might walk in towards C, but I do decide to go and pick on the Golden Lou. Not that I think those torpedoes are going to hit, but I just think that it's more likely for the Golden Lou to try and like square up against this island and maybe poke his nose out than it is for this GK to just walk in. Because I'm figuring that this GK is more likely to just kind of like chill right out here. Because that's what he's done so far. If he was going to YOLO, chances are he would have done it by now. That's the thing with German battleship players is when they YOLO, if they don't do it in the first 5 minutes, they're probably not going to. So, there you go. That's why I decided to pick on the Golden Lou. And another thing I thought was that because I thought the Schlieffen might encourage him to go that way, but no. I do pop my smoke again right here to try and get some more damage on this daring. The thing that to note here is that I had to wait until my smoke completely concealed my ship before I even thought about opening fire on here. And I do end up eating a bunch of Minotaur torps because just random teammates, I guess. But looking at the map right here, there's a daring in the cap. There's a Jaeger, most likely, in the cap. And there's an Edgar that we know has radar. That is also seen heading directly into that cap. So I cannot stay in that smoke screen. We're just going to pop some Make-A-Wish torps out at the daring. I'm not expecting to need my torpedoes in a few seconds, so I'm okay with launching those Make-A-Wish torpedoes, which is something I normally say to not do. But right here, I do get detected. And this is a huge thing right now, is a lot of destroyer players, when they get detected, their immediate panic response is to shoot. And just be like, well, I'm detected anyway. I'm just going to try and get as much damage on this guy as possible. So, but you have to really train yourself to not do that. Because if I had shot there, I absolutely am guaranteed to have died. Because I would have been detected via my gun bloom. And I would have been detected for 20 more seconds in front of a Daring, a Seattle, and an Edgar. So you have to train yourself to have trigger discipline unless you know that there's absolutely no way that you're getting out of that alive. Then hold your fire, because your concealment is what's going to save your life, as it did right here. Because I didn't shoot, I was able to just turn away and go undetected. I had to tank a Edgar radar for a few seconds, but I was right on the very edge of the range, so I was able to go dark. Now, what are we looking at? We have a Golden Lou and a Mecklenburg that are both bow in, pushing towards A, and potentially a GK as well. But I figure that this GK, honestly, he could go either way. It really just depends on which way he turns for the carrier. And he ends up turning in instead of turning out to the plane, so he's going to end up going into B. So that's fine. That's one less hydro I have to deal with. Now, for this Golden Lou, the thing to keep in mind is that both of them have hydro. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure my torpedoes have the highest possible chance of hitting one or both of these targets. So I waited for this Mecklenburg for like the gray line to align with where the Golden Lou is sitting, to give myself the greatest chance of hitting one or both of these targets. And both of these guys have hydro, and I don't know which one is running it, if either or both, but I really can't afford to take chances. I just have to take the shot, and it does end up paying off because the Mecklenburg just ints into literally all of them. Now I just have the Golden Lou. And the thing that I was trying to talk about a little bit earlier is the reason I didn't launch those torpedoes as soon as as soon as I had them up, when I was like up toward more like towards up here, was because both of these targets were completely nose on, or close enough to nose on, that my torpedo shot really wouldn't have done a whole lot of good. And that is something that you have to really think about, is even though ships are pushing into you, if they're nose on, that's not a good target. So on the health that I have, I cannot afford to get too close to either of these guys. I straight up cannot take any risks whatsoever. So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to have. I cannot try and coax them into turning, or and I can't hope that they're just going to be forced to angle to my team, because this Yamato did end up getting farmed out a little while ago. So there's not really a whole lot of angles or broadside punishing threat towards either of these guys. So what I had to do is I had to hold my torpedoes, go out a little bit wider, and try and get as good a shot as possible on both of their broadsides. Right here is where these planes would have killed me. I would have been spotted in front of the Golden Lou, so I had to pop my smoke. And the thing that you have to note specifically about right here is that I did not pop my smoke after I was detected. These planes were coming up behind me, and I popped my smoke before I got detected. And the reason that's significant is because it denies them any clear shot at me. It denies them a last known indicator on me to put their little circle on their crosshair over. And it prevents me from ever getting spotted, because when I popped that smoke puff basically acted as an island that broke line of sight long enough for the rest of my smoke to cover me before the carrier got over. And right here I have a choice. I could either send my other rack of torpedoes at the Golden Lou to try and finish him off, or I can luck chuck them out towards the Daring. And I end up deciding to go for the luck chuck, because right here, this Golden Lou almost ate another torp, and he is getting griefed between a Midway that's just like straight up in his mouth, a Minotaur, and a Clausewitz that are all going to be farming him out. So right now, all I'm wanting to do is I want to make sure that this Golden Lou is never, ever going to go dark. Not that he's going to go dark anyway, because there's a carrier griefing him, but Daring does end up eating those luck chuck torpedoes, and that is another little lesson in just being over aggressive. There really was no reason for that Daring to push in like that. He had 3 caps. He has a sizable points lead, and at that moment he had a ship advantage. His team had a ship advantage as well. So there was no reason for that Daring to push up, especially if he didn't have smoke, which it doesn't look like he did, because he didn't smoke up even in the face of the Minotaur and Clausewitz. So, I mean, I guess to be fair, he did get radared there, so his smoke wouldn't have helped him anyway. So, yeah, potato, potato, I guess. Now, what do we have? We have a Midway that's on this island, and this is the greatest threat to me right now is this Midway, first and foremost, and this Edgar that at this point hadn't been spotted in 5 minutes. And the reason I'm still alive right now is because I was never detected there. If I was detected by those planes earlier on, if I didn't smoke up in time, if I survived that, this Midway would know, first of all, I'm low health, or honestly, he should know that anyway. If the Daring or the Jaeger or the Edgar have any sense whatsoever, they would have been telling him, look, the Fletcher is low health, you can finish him off. But he just ends up never doing that. And I get extremely lucky I don't get detected there as well. And that this is a dangerous position right here as well, because I do not have any smoke whatsoever. So I cannot step into B. And the reason I can't is simply because there's a midway literally right there. I launched some torpedoes. They're entirely speculative in case this guy tries to just full send and accelerate, but it doesn't end up happening. But it's really just more to cut off his possible escapes more than anything else. And all I have to do is make sure that this guy is never going to go dark. Just keep him spotted for my Edgar and my Clausewitz to farm out. And I do pick up RPF right here, and that is also very concerning because the only ship left on their team that can have RPF is that Edgar. So the fact that I'm being RPF by him, to me, is signifying he is probably somewhere in this area right here, either in C or possibly just north of it, or he's over towards the Conqueror. So I am very cautious right now because I cannot afford to get detected. But when those planes go away, we don't have a choice. We are so far behind on points. We do really, really need these points. And right here, notice that I did actually drop off of RPF, which is very I guess relieving is the word, because it means that this Edgar is, well, not where I thought he was. He ends up being so far away, he's a non-threat to me. So, just like this carrier, all I need to do is make sure this Conqueror cannot go undetected. And I'm hoping he's going to turn in and turn around so I can get a torpedo shot on him. But it's not going to end up happening. This carrier is about to strike him. He's probably going to turn out for that, or no, he ends up turning in. But he is basically screwed. He has what looks like Clausewitz torpedoes heading in on there. I don't think those would even have range, but he ends up detonating, which is really funny, to be honest. And the main thing now is I just need to step into the caps, stop C from ticking, and then head towards D. That's really all I need to do in order to win this game, is stall their points and hope that it'll be enough. I believe it should have been the points deficit if we get them on a triple cap. By the time I cap, it'll probably be about a minute and a half remaining, ticking 2 caps to 1 during the time C is being contested, and then 3 caps to 1. I believe that should have been enough, but ends up not having to be enough because this Edgar is ultimately going to go down. And that, boys and girls, is the second fucking ultra throw that I have had in this past week alone. So I think the real lesson here is, first of all, never ever give up on a game. No matter how hopeless it looks, you are never fully out of the game. And if you can play your life, and if you know if you play with that mindset of, okay, I cannot take risks, but I still need to impact this game, what options do I have? I could have just been like, a lot of other people would have just been like, Herder, go next, game's lost, and just kill themselves on purpose and move on to the next game. But you really are not doing yourself any favors by doing that. You're not doing your team any favors by doing that. So you just never give up, and that's one of the biggest things that separates a higher win rate player from a lower win rate player, is just a higher win rate player will not give up. And that is something I cannot drive home here enough, because as you can see right here, we were able to win this game despite being down 3 caps and being outnumbered, I think 2-1 or close to it at one point. Is something that a lot of players struggle with, is they just give up and they don't care. So never give up, but also play your life. Play to survive, and you will still be able to impact the game, because I lost 90% of my health in the first 5 minutes because I made a mistake and I got over aggressive and I paid for it, but I was still able to have a pretty solid influence on this game as a whole. I did end up getting outscored by carrier, which is pretty tragic, but oh well, it happens. So I think that is going to be it for this replay. This is a really nice game that I wanted to share with you. A very impactful game, as you can see here. There's a pretty entertaining throw, and I think is also, like I described earlier, it's just another lesson in never giving up and playing your life. Play to survive and win the game while you survive. I mean, there are exceptions. Sometimes you do end up having to kill yourself in a trade for a certain enemy, like, say, trading a quarter health cruiser for a full health battleship and a ram or a drive-by with torpedoes or something. There are obviously exceptions, but by and large, learn to survive. Have that mindset of do not die. Don't feed the enemy team points. Don't deny your team spotting because they have no destroyers left. Uh, just look for any way you can to influence the game as safely as you can, no matter the health you have. And if you don't do that, you might end up losing 90% of your health in the first 5 minutes and being severely limited, as I was in this game. But we're still able to pull it through and make a really nice game out of it regardless. So that is going to be it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this game. I really loved playing it. So that is going to be it for this replay. I will see you tomorrow.